If I say these two fighting scenes are directed by the same director, well, you won't be surprised because these two films are pretty goddamn famous and their director Christopher Nolan is a household name in almost every movie aspirants. But just think for a moment, if they were not famous movies and if I show you these two clips for the first time, can you now differentiate the quality in these two fighting scenes? In this video, we'll try to dissect how Christopher Nolan leveled his game up in hand-to-hand combat scenes through a timeline journey of his movies. The first movie where Nolan had to shoot a significant action scene was Batman Begins. Now, I am a massive Nolan fan, but let's be honest, the hand-to-hand combat scenes in Batman Begins left a lot to be desired. Take for instance the chaotic prison fight scene. If you look at this scene closely, it's quite difficult to comprehend what's actually going on there. The editing seems pretty awkward. The scene makes it clear that there is a fighting going on, but it is difficult to follow each individual action's exact sequence. Here is another battle sequence in which Ra's al Ghul trains Bruce Wayne. The editing of the sword fight sequence is marginally better than that of the prison combat scene, but the shakiness is still present. Abruptly, the fast cut editing begins, making it more difficult to follow the action in the scene. Another scene is where he fights a group of thugs here. The fast moving camera and choppy cuts really make the scene intolerable, but it was about to be improved because something extraordinary was about to happen in the next Batman movie. The extraordinary thing that changed the hand-to-hand action scenes and a lot of other stuff in a Nolan movie was the IMAX camera. The Dark Knight was the first movie that he shot with IMAX. 28 minutes of Dark Knight was shot with IMAX and every single Nolan fan knows how much Nolan loves IMAX nowadays. He's literally the flag bearer of IMAX cameras. So what exactly changed with the introduction of IMAX? Let's look at it. IMAX has the largest commercial film format in motion picture history, which is 3 times the size of regular 70mm and almost 10 times the size of conventional 35mm, which you'd see in a normal movie theater. Nolan fell in love with this and started shooting with IMAX cameras as much as he could, and that one single thing solely changed Nolan as a filmmaker. Before using IMAX, Nolan used to shoot his movies one way, and after IMAX, he literally completely changed his visual style. Because IMAX scenes are way larger than the regular scenes, you cannot just get away with closely cut action scenes here. The shots needed to be wider than the previous movies. That is what Nolan did in Dark Knight. You can see wide shots very often in Dark Knight. Not only in the action scenes, he used wide shots everywhere because of the IMAX. One of the most iconic shots in the history of cinema is the shot where we first saw Joker from behind. I read something on the internet about the visual style of Dark Knight and that really describes the cinema perfectly. The writing was something like this: no close-ups, no lens flare, no slow-mo. The camera is constantly moving but not in a chaotic Michael Bay type of way. The camera gets close but not too close as to lose a sense of geography. A master filmmaker truly at the top of his game. The action scenes in this movie have fewer blurry cuts and most iconic action scenes have 1 or 2 wide shots. The hand-to-hand combat improved a lot from the previous movie too. In Dark Knight, hand-to-hand action scenes had shots that had longer run times than the previous one. It was more visible and understandable than the previous one too. So it was pretty clear that he was improving his visuals with the help of the IMAX camera. The next Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, also had a handful of hand-to-hand action scenes and they were signs of a clear improvement. The scenes where Bane breaks Batman's back is a pretty iconic moment in the cinema, and this fight scene does not have any blurry fast-cut editing. Nolan took his time, shot with mostly wide frames, and hardly used any close-ups in this scene. The final fight scene with Bane also reflects significant improvement and mastery. He used a mix of longer one-shots and wide shot for this fight scene. Another good thing was the audience could clearly see each and every action that was happening in the scene. Avoiding fast cut editing was a really fantastic decision, but one thing was missing even in the hand-to-hand fight scenes of Dark Knight Rises. What is that? Can you guess? That one thing is speed. I can't emphasize enough the importance of speed in a combat scene, but how do you actually improve the pacing of an action scene without the blurry and choppy editing like The Batman Begins? I'm so glad that Nolan figured that out too. He learned and implied that in his second last movie, Tenet. Tenet has some of the greatest action scenes in the history of cinema. Specifically, this reverse fight scene is just unbelievable. I don't think anyone other than Christopher Nolan could execute this reverse hand-to-hand fight scene. To me, this was the most unique hand-to-hand fight scene of all time. Nolan really improved the pace of action scenes here, and the kitchen fight scene is a perfect example of that. Even with the super fast pace, you can clearly see what is happening in every shot here, which is so great. After Tenet, I'm eagerly waiting to see his next action movie, and he has reached a level where he doesn't need any more improvement. Whatever he is going to show, it will be brilliant for sure. Thanks for watching this video. Tell us what's your most favorite action sequence from a Nolan movie in the comment. If you like this video, please dump a like and subscribe to our channel for more movie related content like this.